Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever this message may find you, it's your girl G's Louise, aka Chef Jewel, back with another devotional message. You already know we're reading out of Jesus Calling by Sarah Young, right? It's one of my favorite. This book is so beautiful to me. It's so beautiful, so powerful. All right, we're gonna do our breath work because we gotta get out. We gotta show our appreciation that we're able to breathe. Like, I think we take for granted a lot of that stuff, like that we can breathe, that we can see, that we can hear, that we can do a lot of the stuff that we're able to do every day. Take it for granted. And breath work is also just good for releasing stuff that you're going through that you don't want to go through no more. Tension that's built up. You ever be like, my back, my neck hurt? That's stress. That's tension. You're holding, you're tensed. Like a friend of mine, I met with him the other day for a meeting, and it was an amazing meeting. But when he gave me a hug, he was like, dang, you're tense. I'm like, yep. So this is why I do the breath work, and I need to do more of it, actually. I need to do a lot more. But anyway, let's do it. Let's get out the way. After that, we'll pray. Okay. All right, January 26th. Oh, we're going to pray. Father God, thank you for waking me up out of my bed this morning. Please give me the words to communicate clearly with the collective. Help us to rid ourselves of all fear and blockages. Have the strength to ignore the ways that have kept us stuck, and to stay alert for peace of mind. Gain the strength in applying the wisdom, the things that we learn, applying them so that we can live inside of our abundance. All right. This is already starting off good. I'm about to tell y'all. Give up the illusion. Give up the illusion that you deserve a problem-free life. Part of you is still hungering for the resolution of all difficulties. This is a false hope. As I told my disciples, in the world you will have trouble. Link your hope not to the problem solving in this life, but to the promise of an eternity of a problem-free life in heaven. Heaven and hell is a state of mind, in my opinion. Instead of seeking perfection in this fallen world, it's a fallen world. This world is fallen because it's flawed. Pour your energy into seeking me, the perfect one. It is possible to enjoy me and glorify me in the midst of adverse circumstances. In fact, my light shines most brightly through believers who trust in me in the dark. That kind of trust is supernatural. A production of my indwelling spirit. Wow. So that kind of trust is supernatural. It's a production of my indwelling spirit, meaning your spirit that dwells inside of you, internal. That kind of trust is supernatural. He said, when things seem all wrong, then in right responses to he said, when things seem all wrong, trust me anyway. And I was just talking about that. Like, when you are connected with God, you don't even feel bad when things are all messed up. You could literally be walking, dwelling in an environment, or seeing your external environment just go to pieces. But being that you're connected to God, you have an inner knowing and understanding that you know that this is just what's got to be. It's just what's happening. It has to happen. So the reason why it's happening is for your higher good. So because you know that you're connected. But when you're not connected, you're like, oh my God, this is happening to me. Everything is a mess. You're a mess because everything else is a mess. But when you're connected with God, it's like, it's almost like you're so wise. You're literally, you're poised. You're poised because you're like, oh, well, I guess this is what had to happen. You know what I mean? And it's hurtful sometimes, depending upon what is actually happening. But you literally have an internal knowing that translate into a reflection of a glow of peacefulness. And that peacefulness can rub off on other people. That's why when they say when somebody's all lit and frantic about something, it's best for you to approach the situation as calm as possible, because if you meet crazy with crazy, it's going to get crazier. If you meet that crazy with calmness, it can kind of balance out, the crazy or whatever. Anyway, it's something I had to learn. It took me forever to rise above Pisces, to rise above that crazy in me, the reactions that don't really serve me ultimately, right? I am much less interested in right circumstances than in right responses. I want to respond better no matter what's going on, because I can't change what's going to happen. I'm always going to have somebody hating on me. I'm always going to have somebody that don't like me. I'm always going to have somebody that has underlying motives. I'm always going to come across something that's not really pleasant. But I need to understand that I need to be able to respond to it in a way, because I know God got my back. Like, I understand, like, I'm straight. Like how Boosie always say, God got my back. So I feel like, so Boosie keep his mind at ease. That's why. Because if you connected, you like, oh, okay, this is what's happening. And you deal with your consequences better, because you're aware of what you're doing, what results it gets you. You're aware. So it says, I am much less interested, I got to read it again, in right circumstances than in right responses. He said, it's to whatever comes your way, you have to have the response of like a peaceful response, a thought through response. You know what I mean? And that's, again, this is not easy. Now, I'm not saying like this is practice makes perfect. Like, you practice this stuff to make it second nature, so it's easy. All right, John 16 verse 33. I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. Have peace in me. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And that's Jesus. They're talking about, how, whatever you believe religious wise, not religious. I mean, religion is just names, and, religion is literally like, it's like an avenue. It's like a different route you took to get to God, pretty much. But religion really ain't what gets you there. It's the connection. It's the communication with God. It's the constant connect that you have. The authentic bond that you create with God is what really is the move, right? And how you conduct yourself, and how you reflect Him through your dealings with other people, your dealings with the world, your dealings with how you just do everything. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So that's what I mean by, it. That is what the big piece is. You know what I mean? My sister and I talked about that this morning. The piece of it is, how do you move? How do you move in situations? How do you handle things? How do you handle people? How do you handle your children? How do you handle your enemies? Like, how do you, that's where it all starts to reflect. That's where it starts to show up in your life, the fruits of your labor, the fruits of your trees. Like, what fruit are you bearing? Like, she's made a good point. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Like, you run the red light, ain't nobody looking. And it's like, nobody was looking. But, and these are small things, but when you practice doing the next right thing, it literally shows up in your life that way. And I know me, I could speak for myself with this. I'm like, man, I mean, I do this. I'm good to people, but I mean, yeah, I ran the red light. Yeah, I mean, I cuss. Yeah, I mean, I do this. But it's like, these little things, these little moments of discipline that you interject or that you implement into your life, those things are ways to practice being righteous on all ends, like what they call evenly yoked, or balanced, all around person. They call you like an all around, or I'm sorry, what's the word? I think it's that, evenly yoked, where the person, where you're kind of like, you're gonna always try to be doing the right thing in every situation that you're faced, no matter how big and no matter how small it is. Like, nobody's looking though. Nobody's looking. You still put that thing back. Nobody's looking. You didn't steal it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's looking. You didn't cheat. Nobody's looking. You didn't smack that girl on the butt knowing you married. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's looking. But it's not a thing of nobody's looking. It's a thing. Who are you in the dark and the light? Who you are in the dark is who you are. When nobody's looking, that's who you are. Right? So you want to make sure that you get in that airtight. Because we all like to look a certain way in front of people. Like, everybody try to put on this good face. But who are you when it's dark? Who are you when you alone with your spouse? Who are you when you with your mom or your dad or your children? Who are you then when nobody's looking? That's what he's talking about. Whew. Even in the darkness, light, Psalms. This is Psalms 112, verse 4 through 7. Not through 7, verse 4 and 7. Even in darkness, light dawns for the upright. Did you catch what I just said? Are you picking up? What do Myron Golden say? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Are you tracking? I love him. Here's how he was saying. Are you tracking? But look, he said, this is what I just said. Even in darkness, light dawns for the upright. Even in, I don't care what you watch. I don't care what platform you on. I don't learn from so many different things, different religions. Even tarot card readings. When they pull a card and they say it's in the upright, that means it's legit. Me driving illegally, that's not upright. So then, it's when you're in the upright position and you're doing the things on the up and up, staying on the up and up, doing the next right thing, no matter who's looking, in the dark or the light, right? Light dawns for the upright. Which side of the stick do you want to be on? For the gracious and the compassionate and the righteous man. I gotta read this again, sorry, because I need you to pick it up. Even in the darkness, light dawns for the upright. For the gracious and compassionate and righteous man. He will have no fear of bad news. His heart is steadfast, trusting in the Lord. And if you ain't hear nothing else, I wanted you to hear that. I wanted to hear that. I needed to hear that. Because this gives you a confirmation that's beyond anything that you've ever heard. Like, this lets you know This is the focal point. This is the guide. Even in darkness, light dawns for the upright, for the gracious and the compassionate and righteous man. He will have no fears of bad news. Why would he have that? His heart is steadfast and trusting in the Lord. That's Psalms 112, verse 4 and 7. And that's amazing. That lets me know, and I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind doing the right thing, like, especially in the name of myself and God, because I am Him. We are together. We're one piece, and I hadn't been aligned with Him in a long time, and it caused me to go through a lot of things because of that. It caused me to go through a whole lot of things that I didn't have to go through because I was not lining up. I was going against the grain. But now I'm flipping the switch on that. I'm flipping the switch and I'm going against the grain, but it's not going to be that, not him. It's not going to be him going against the other side, the side that I was on. That side is the wrong way. I'm going against that, and I'm going hard with that. And maybe you should too. Till next time, I wish you peace, health, wealth, and the time to enjoy them all.